Hello, दोस्तों नमस्कार. Welcome back for our special podcast on book called Out of the Blue, which is the journey or story of Bengaluru FC as a club from starting in 2013 to till now. And इस बुक को लिखा है, इसके ऑथर है संदीप मेनन, जो कि आज हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं. So first of all, Sandeep bhai, thank you very much for joining. And how are you?
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm good. चल रहा है ऐसे.
सो दिस इज समथिंग स्पेशल जो कि हमने अभी मतलब इंडियन फुटबॉल के पर्सपेक्टिव से बात करें एंड पर्टिकुलरली अगर हम क्लब पर्सपेक्टिव से भी देखें तो आईएसएल क्लब की ऐसे कोई बुक हमें नहीं देखने को मिलती. दिस इज समथिंग न्यू जो कि आई थिंक इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस एंड उनके लिए है. नो डाउट कोलकाता क्लब्स जो लेगेसी क्लब्स है उनकी पास्ट में हमने देखा है कि उनके बारे में कई सारी बुक्स आपको मिल जाएगी. बट फॉर न्यू क्लब्स की जो 2013-14 में जब आईएसएल स्टार्ट हुआ उस टाइम पे जो क्लब स्टार्ट हुए उसमें बेंगलुरु एफसी की जर्नी वैसे भी स्पेशल है. सो उसके बारे में आपने बुक लिखी है. सो हाउ दिस जर्नी स्टार्टेड एंड थोड़ा सा पहले अपने बारे में बताइए, क्योंकि मैंने जो बुक का इनिशियल चैप्टर थोड़े से रीड किए उसमें मैंने देखा कि जैसे बेंगलुरु एफसी की जर्नी 2013 में स्टार्ट हुई है उसी तरह से आपकी भी बेंगलोर में जो जर्नी है वो 2013 में ही स्टार्ट हुई है. सो दिस इज समथिंग यू कैन से कि कोइंसिडेंट और व्हाटएवर यू कॉल इट. सो tell me about yourself and then we will talk about the book.
Yeah, तो जैसे आपने पढ़ा 2013 was when I started my career as a journalist as well. उसके पहले I was an engineering student. थोड़ा I worked a little bit as an intern for Sony also in their IPL coverage. And then I don't know. I used to write for Sportskeeda and websites as a freelancer, just like that. This was the early days when the freelancers didn't get paid and all. We just wrote it because we liked it, and I wrote a lot of garbage articles. Now when I read, because you read what others wrote and then you rewrote it and acted like it was your idea. That was what happened. It's all there still in the Sportskeeda website if people want to go and check what I was doing. Then luckily मुझे ये opportunity मिला to work for Deccan Chronicle in June of 2013. And I remember I walked in. मुझे कुछ पता नहीं था कि जर्नलिज्म क्या होता है, कैसे होता है, like how did you do the page design, none of these things. It was just that I wanted to write about sports, and specifically football and little tennis were my two favorite. So I went just started little bit later. I think my boss was sitting there and he was like, you came at the right time as a football enthusiast because there is a new team that is starting in Bangalore. So this is also the time I think ISL was in the works, and those things were starting to happen as well. And I think my second assignment was be Bangalore FC's launch.
Okay.
So yeah, I was there when they wrote, Bengaluru FC unveiled the name and the logo and all of that. The first team came out. So yeah, from then on, I was very lucky and fortunate to have been in Bangalore, where this club was playing, and was able to cover them supremely successful right off the bat. Thanks to, I mean, a lot of credit has to go to them for my journey as a journalist also, because I was able to cover, title wins, AFC Cup final, some great matches, ISL final, etc., etc. So as a lot of the Indian team also played here during that time against Oman and Iran, and also, yeah, it was a great journey.
सो आपकी जर्नी के बारे में तो आपने बताया और आपकी और बेंगलुरु एफसी की जैसे आपने बताया कि साथ में स्टार्ट हुई है. सो नाउ दिस आइडिया अबाउट बुक वो कहाँ से आया, मतलब कि हाँ भाई इसके बारे में एक बुक लिखनी चाहिए. जैसे मैंने बिकॉज स्टार्टिंग में बताया कि भाई दिस इज समथिंग न्यू इन इंडियन फुटबॉल सर्किट. हमने इस तरह की कोई बुक पर्टिकुलरली जो आईएसएल क्लब 2014 में या फिर बेंगलुरु एफसी जब ज्वाइन किया उसके बारे में सच अगर हम बुक देखेंगे तो है नहीं कोई मार्केट में, या फिर लोग फैंस को अगर उनके साथ कनेक्ट करना है, उनकी जर्नी को यहाँ पे कैसे की रीड करना है, तो हाउ दिस आइडिया अबाउट बुक कम अप.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know clearly kahan se this whole idea started. I was actually trying to write another book, which is also done. It should be coming later in the year or something. So then I wanted to write about Bangalore. I remember in passing one of my colleagues in Deccan Herald once, because I used to constantly write about BFC, matches and previews and interviews and all that kind of stuff. So then one day he just told me, in passing, like, why are you doing all this? Go write a book if you want. So I think that is where the initial thing happened,
Short
but
time.
obviously you didn't do it. And then I had a conversation with Sudhir from Scar Sports and Sudhir Menon, and then we in conversation I was telling him, like, there might be a chance. I wonder if I can do this. So then he suggested, you know what, go ahead, give us a proposal, because he just started a joint venture with Rohit Ramesh, Scar Sports, and they were looking to sort of invest in, I guess, new and interesting projects in football landscape. And then I wrote a proposal. The first thing I did is call Pradyum Reddy. And I said, I have this idea. Do you think it's possible? Can I interview? Give me some time. I want to get some stories out of you to first think if there is a possibility of writing a book. So Pradyum very helpfully and very politely, obviously, a great guy. He spoke to me for I think 2 hours. I think he had just driven from Bombay to Goa or some long trip he had taken, but he stopped the car, got out, and called me, and then we were on the call for like 2 hours. And he told me a lot of the stories about the early years, how they fixed everything and all. Then as I went through the story, I mean, as he was narrating it and all that, I just realized there is so many things that we didn't know. So many interesting anecdotes that only a club insider would know. How they signed players, how they thought of doing this, in the stories that happened between games, dressing room banter, all these things. And then I thought, okay, you know what, this might be an interesting approach and way to do the book. I sent a proposal to Sudhir, and then he said, "Okay, you can go ahead." And then it just started from there. So thanks to, and I had a meeting with Sudhir and Rohit as well, where I sort of they asked me a lot of questions about how you want to do this, what is your idea, how are you going to set the books, and obviously they were very focused on ensuring it's a good product. Yeah, so then it just took off from there, and then it was a lot of interviews and a lot of fact checking through the whether they said the story that happened in this match, whether that actually did happen in that match, because the timing and the all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it just started from there.
दो चीज जो आपने बोली मैं उसको हाईलाइट करना चाहूंगा। एक तो आपने बोला कि प्रोडक्ट मतलब एक आपका आइडिया होना कि हाँ इसी बुक लिखनी है, और उसके बाद उसको रियलिटी में यू कैन से कि पॉसिबल करना, दैट इज द टू डिफरेंट चैलेंजेस। एंड मैंने कुछ इनिशियल चैप्टर पढ़े हैं, इसलिए मैं ये बात बोल सकता हूँ विद कॉन्फिडेंस कि आई लाइक इट, मतलब इन सेंस कि ये थोड़ा सा मतलब ऐसा है कि इंटरेस्टिंग है, ऐसा ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं चलो भाई आपने बुक लिख दी। और दूसरी चीज कि आपने जैसे बोला कि फैक्ट चेक करना, क्योंकि ये आई थिंक फैंस के लिए भी थोड़ा सा एक्साइटिंग हो सकता है कि एक आप अपने पर्सपेक्टिव से बुक लिखे, और एक आप जैसे आपने बोला कि आपने कई सारे जो बीएफसी में लोगों ने काम किया है, मंदार तामाने, प्रद्युम्न रेड्डी हो गए, या फिर प्लेयर्स के साथ फॉर्मर कोचेस एस्ले वेस्टवुड हो गए, या फिर अल्बर्ट रोका हो गए, इन सब के साथ आपने बातचीत करके जो इनसाइड स्टोरीज है उसको इस बुक में ऐड किया है। सो दैट इज आई थिंक इज मोर एक्साइटिंग टू रीड फॉर फैंस आल्सो, कि जस्ट नॉट दी your perspective as a you can say ki journalist or you can say ki follower. So I think fans also get some really good stories. Can you tell us something, some special stories जो आपको लगता है कि नहीं this should be fans read, because I think that would be more exciting for them.
Yeah, so one of the thing that I wanted to ensure was it was a story of the players and the club, but told through my perspective. So in the beginning parts, it is there is this a chapter which will be something related to my experience, and then what happened during the season. So that is the formatting for the first half of the book, and then second half is different again. So that is something I wanted to ensure because it is their voice. So a lot of players, you might know two, three names as the ones who did these things, right? But there are so many characters and so many things that happened inside and stories that they were saying, that this happened, that happened, which is why we came together. So one of the touching stories that for me was in the first season, I think. So BFC started with I think 3 or 4 home games, and they won all of them. So they were going well, but they didn't win the away games. So I think I don't, yeah, somewhere in the early first half of the season, Ashley Westwood was in Goa. The team was in Goa, and Westwood just sort of says, "Okay, you have to." come and tell why you are playing football. And there was a lot of emotional stories about people trying to get out of tough times. Sean Rooney talking about the parents that he is, was struggling with illness and problems and stuff, and his personal tragedy and all that. And that was like a bonding moment for the team. And they went on to win the away games, and I think they didn't lose in Goa for a long stretch also after that. So these are moments that we were not privy to as a journalist or whatever. I was not there. I couldn't listen or anything. But when they tell these kind of stories, I found it very touching. And these are the stories that you want to tell the fans, right? Because
Yes.
everybody can look at Wikipedia or transfer market or something and know that they beat them, BFC beat this team, that beat the BFC, whatever, whatever. But it's the human story that makes the club. And I also always like the fact that the club themselves was very much sort of they made it a big part of their, let's say, mission statement to be of Bangalore. So they cared about the
Hmm.
city. So they stood for the city. During COVID time, they had a bunch of campaigns which helped a lot of restaurants and small businesses who were struggling at that time, and they were able to help them out in some way, shape, or form. One of them was this restaurant called the Urban Solace, which is in Alsur in
Hmm.
Bangalore, which is one of the restaurants that I always go because it is the first place I came and when my sister and parents and all visited, it is a place we met. It is right next to the Alsur Lake, and it's a big. And me and my wife go there now because we live close to that region, so we walk. And then whenever we want to have like a meal outside, so maybe that restaurant would not be here if BFC hadn't helped. Maybe I'm overstating things, but at the same time, the mindset they had to help people out. They also stand for causes, social causes, women's rights, and many other things, which I found very like a club with a soul, let's say. So I
Soul.
also wanted
Hmm.
to make sure those stories came out. And as far as some anecdotes, I'll tell you. You can ask me something in after this, but my favorite one
नहीं,
is this chapter. Yes.
नहीं, आपने जो चीज आप अपना वो फेवरेट यहाँ पे यू कैन से कि चैप्टर बताए, उससे पहले जो आप बोल रहे थे उसमें मैं एक चीज ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि जैसे आपने बोला कि क्लब विद सोल, आई थिंक एज वी ऑल नो कि इंडिया में देयर आर सो मेनी यूरोपियन फुटबॉल फैंस, एंड हमने देखा है कि जब वो हम यूरोपियन क्लब्स की यहाँ पे हिस्ट्री स्टोरीज पढ़ते हैं तो वो एक कनेक्ट होना कम्युनिटी के साथ इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। एंड जो बेंगलुरु एफसी इज वन ऑफ द फ्यू क्लब की जो वो कनेक्ट, अगर हम मॉडर्न क्लब्स की बात करें जो इंडिया में स्टार्ट हुए 2013-14 के टाइम पे, वन ऑफ द फ्यू क्लब की जिन्होंने वो कनेक्ट बेंगलोर के साथ उनके लोगों के साथ बनाने में आई वुड से कि समहाउ सक्सेसफुल हुए हैं। आई वुड नॉट से कि 100% हो गए, इट्स अ प्रोसेस ऑलवेज, बट आई थिंक जैसे आपने जो स्टोरी बताई रेस्टोरेंट की या फिर जिस तरह से क्लब बैक इन डे स्टार्ट हुआ, आई थिंक इट्स रियली रियली गुड टू सी फ्रॉम इंडियन क्लब कि भाई वो उस तरह से कनेक्ट एंड कम्युनिटी बनाने में सक्सेसफुल हुए हैं। एंड आई थिंक दैट इज द आई वुड से कि मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट एज ए क्लब, अगर आपको सक्सेसफुल भी होना है कि आपका लोकल कनेक्ट होना जरूरी है, वो हम काफी सारे आईएसएल क्लबों में एट द मोमेंट मिस करते हैं। बट या आपकी फेवरेट चैप्टर इस बुक की?
Yeah, my favorite chapter is the one with Josh Walker. For the newer generation of VFC fans, maybe they don't know Walker. Walker played for them in the second season when they were still in the ID. So 2014-15
ओके।
उस time पे खेल रहे थे वो. So Joshua Walker was a under 20 England captain वो वर्ल्ड कप खेले थे. तो and by 26 or so 27 he was already playing in Bangalore. तो उस टाइम पे this is my favorite chapter because I was तो उसके पहले in the first season they had a midfielder called Johnny Menon, who was one of the best foreign midfielder that I have seen. तो जब Walker उसको replace किया, there was a like I personally as a journalist didn't think Walker was doing the things that Johnny Manyangar was doing, or he was doing things differently. So Ashley Westwood was time coach था, so I had asked him in a press conference about is it an upgrade to get Josh Walker, और Ashley और मेरे बीच में थोड़ा argument हुआ था उस time, saying उसने बोला you don't understand what you're talking about, and I said no this is the thing, and then he said नहीं, so the next match मैंने उस टाइम स्टैट्स वैट्स नहीं था, तो मैं बैठ के काउंट कर रहा था कि कितना बॉल लैटरल पास या बैक पासेस थे, कितना फॉरवर्ड पासेस थे, तो मैं बैठ के काउंट कर रहा था पूरा मैच. तो उसके बाद आई वेंट एंड टोल्ड एक्चुअली दिस में ही passes sideways, इतना passes forward. तो it ended up in an arc, but Ashley is always like work is work, life is life, a very different guy. तो उस टाइम we had a little tiff. तो उसके बाद एंड वॉकर वाज अ ग्रेट गाय, जब भी हम इंटरव्यू कर रहे थे बहुत अच्छा बंदा था. तो इस बुक के बहाने जब मैं आई कॉल्ड हिम, ही वाज टेलिंग मी अबाउट हिज स्टोरी एंड मुझे लगा कि अभी तो बोलना है कि आई हैड दिस थिंग फाइट विद एशली. सो आई टोल्ड हिम. तो वो मुझे बोल रहा था कि इफ यू रिमेम्बर ही हैड आई थिंक 2 knee surgeries. And he has said, I
ओके.
was not the player that I was at 20. Everybody in England was thinking this guy is going to be a top player. But his knee injury really ruined his career. And he could not turn quickly because the knee was not stable enough. So he completely switched his game to having ये short pass नहीं करते थे. So he was okay hitting long balls. He didn't want to do 1-2s because he didn't couldn't run that much. So he was struggling so much to play for that team. And he's a good player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He was a very good player. But उस टाइम जब मैं बात कर रहा था मेन्योन के कंपैरिजन में, that was a problem. So then I told him, Walker, Josh, I had this fight with Ashley. This is what I thought, and I'm really sorry because I realized what kind of situation you were in. And he said, no, that's fine because what you observed is not wrong. I was not that player, and it just made me realize कि यार ये लोग, they go through so much to play football, and it's such a what do you ये fickle वाला एक career है. Like one injury can change your life, or one bad transfer can change your life. And we sit here and outside not knowing what they are going through inside, personal life में या injuries या जो भी है. And he was dealing with all this and playing, and then you had somebody like me who was 24, 23, 24 at the time, asking questions whether he's a good enough player, etc. And just made me realize, uh, as a journalist also, you have to understand कि yeah, like maybe give benefit of the doubt. Immediately जाके criticize नहीं करना है, just try to understand and support a little bit. Obviously there comes a point where okay, you are not cutting it now, you have to go, वो आ जाता है. मगर before that I thought yeah, maybe I was little harsh on him at that time. And to be fair to Ashley, उस season ending time पे मैं उससे interview कर रहा था, end of the season पूरा इंटरव्यू हो गया. देन आई टोल्ड हिम लाइक यार लिसन, आई एम रियली सॉरी अबाउट द आर्गुमेंट इन द प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस. And then Ashley said, it's okay. I mean, these players are my chill, like my child. They're like my kids. I'm going to always defend. You are fine asking me questions. It's okay. There's no harm, no foul. And then he said, sometimes I don't understand you. There is that also. And then he ran away, like because of your accent. I don't understand you. And ran away. So yeah, it was that personally for me was a very nice chapter.
एक चीज जो आपने बोली ना कि एज ए जर्नलिस्ट भी अभी हमें यू कैन से कि थोड़ा सा वो एम्पैथी होना चाहिए टुवर्ड्स द प्लेयर्स और व्हाटएवर हैपनिंग. तो आई थिंक वो फैंस में भी कहीं ना कहीं आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि फैंस आल्सो शुड आई वुड से कि मोर अवेयर अबाउट इट, और उनको भी थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगता है कि उसी तरह से क्लब को अप्रोच करना चाहिए. नो डाउट जो एक नया फैन जुड़ा है किसी क्लब के साथ वो थोड़ा सा इमोशनल ज्यादा होगा, बट धीरे धीरे आई थिंक जैसे आप क्लब के साथ आपकी भी जर्नी एज ए फैन आगे बढ़ती है तो यू आर मोर यू कैन से कि अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग कि भाई जैसे हम देखते हैं, जैसे आपने बोला कि ट्रांसफर्स होता है किस तरह से, क्या उसके पीछे रीजन होते हैं, वो शायद फैंस को सिर्फ यहाँ पे बाहर से आपको दिखता है कि नहीं भाई क्लब ने ये प्लेयर को क्यों जाने दिया या फिर ये इस प्लेयर को क्यों साइन कर रहे हैं, बट बिहाइंड द स्टोरीज आई थिंक डिफरेंट होती है. जैसे कि फैंस ज्यादा कंट्रोवर्सीज में इंटरेस्ट
एक
रखते हैं.
चीज मैं बोलना चाहता था कि आई थिंक फैंस आर द फैंस, राइट? क्योंकि उनका इन्वेस्टमेंट
हाँ,
है टाइम एंड एफर्ट एंड मनी. तो उसके लिए
मनी
यू
या
हैव टू गिव बैक, अदरवाइज इवेंचुअली दे विल नॉट इन्वेस्ट. एंड आई डोंट हैव अ प्रॉब्लम
इन्वेस्ट.
विद
हाँ.
फैंस बीइंग क्रिटिकल ऑफ प्लेयर्स एनीथिंग. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि एज जर्नलिस्ट वी नीड टू मे बी बिकॉज वी कैन गेट मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन. So
ट्रू.
because of that, I think we should be a little bit more discerning. मगर अगर fans, and to be fair, Bangalore FC fans are some of the most supportive fans. Team कैसे भी
हाँ.
खेल रहे हो, they are always supporting. You will very rarely hear them in the stadium booing or getting angry or anything like that. The social media में तो होता ही रहता है. But by and large, even then, West Block Blues or North Stand Blues or Karavali Blues or whatever, any of these fan bases, they are like and greatly supportive of the team. Very, very, even during tough times, they are extremely supportive. So, thoda different fan culture we have BFC का for many reasons. So, book जब आप book पढ़ेंगे, you'll understand more about why the fan base is the way they are.
जैसे मैं बता रहा था कि फैंस से ज्यादा मतलब जो स्पाइसी थिंग्स होती है, ट्रांसफर कंट्रोवर्सी, उसमें ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड है। एंड इस बुक में भी आपने कुछ ऐसे चैप्टर या फिर कुछ ऐसी चीजें कवर करने की कोशिश की गई है कि जो सिर्फ मतलब क्लब की यहाँ पे अच्छी साइड है या फिर यू कैन से कि वो नहीं है, जो चीजें उन्होंने फेस की है प्रॉब्लम या फिर वो है, वो भी इंक्लूड की गई है। जिसमें वन ऑफ द मेजर इंसिडेंट जो रिसेंट क्लब की हिस्ट्री में हुआ है वो दैट केबीएफसी वॉकआउट। एंड अगर आप उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा कुछ बताना चाहेंगे कि भाई व्हाट वाज द behind the scene whole scenario after that happened from the KBFC camp, their dressing room, their coaches from BFC.
Yeah, so I was there in the stadium. It was absolute chaos. क्योंकि मेरा दोस्त भी आए थे मैच देखने के लिए because I told them there's a great match to come. So I do this thing where अपने दोस्तों को बुला के like on these big games for in Bangalore, वो जो मोहन बागान के साथ है, केरला ब्लास्टर्स के साथ. So I was like, you know, come watch the game. It's a knockout also. You know, will be great. Atmosphere will be great. So they were having great time, and then I get messages. Suddenly they just walk out, right? And I have covered 10 years, now 12 years. I've never seen anything like that. And और उसके साथ उसके पहले I've been watching football since 98 maybe. I can remember the World Cup 98 as a big moment. So I've never really seen this. तो सब लोग ऐसे देख रहे थे. All journalists are looking at each other saying अभी करना क्या है, कितना देर deadline है, what to do. So I was calling a match commissioner trying to find out कि what is the procedure now, कितना time wait करेंगे वगैरह. So it was chaos in the newsroom and in the press box also. But I find interestingly, even back then, ये सुना रहा था कि in the dressing room, Ivan was very calm. He was not shouting and raving. And Ivan is that kind of person. He's headstrong, powerful character of a person. And he was very calm in the dressing room. And all the BFC players are outside anyway. They were all waiting for Kerala Blasters to come back. And honestly, we all thought they will come back because we were sort of within the day. By the end of the game itself, we knew that this is not the right way to end the game, you know, because it was a knockout team. And I thought at that time Kerala Blasters were playing better. They could have scored. You know, I think they had 15-20 minutes or something still to play. They could have aram se or probably scored. You know, if they were desperate enough, there is a good chance of that happening. But in the dressing room, the match commissioner and the officials and all went. They all found Ivan and everybody to be very calm. They had a quick meeting, and from the stories that we were able to tell through the book, is that they were willing to come. By the time the meeting was over, and then they thought, okay, we might come back. The final whistle was blown. So there was a possibility maybe that the game could have happened, but you know it didn't really work out that way. But it is very fascinating to notice how teams manage all these situations, right? And it was not like Ivan was angry at that one incident. It felt like from a Kerala Blasters perspective, from the within the dressing room at least, that they were getting a lot of bad calls. So it was accumulation of all those things, plus being a knockout game in the home of your rival, and you score that goal, which is still debated to this day. Yeah, it was a cumulative effect of all. It was a very surreal experience as a journalist as well, because we couldn't make head or tail, and then we started having this argument whether what they did is right or wrong. So you might fall on any side of the coin when it comes to them being right or wrong, but for me, walking out was never an option. I realized, having spoken to the people there, that they felt aggrieved, but walking out was never an option. So a lot of the players and some staff also did not want to go out. They went out
from KBFC side also, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't want to go out. I remember watching some of them dragging their feet when they were going. They were really not interested because it didn't feel right and all that. But you know, it happens. It's one of those moments in time. Yeah.
So before moving on to the next,
rivalry became even crazier. Huh? The
अच्छा.
call out was so I will became Fraser.
हाँ, हाँ. So before moving on to the next question, I would want to mention one thing कि अगर आपको इस तरह की इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज बीएफसी के बारे में और ज्यादा रीड करनी है, देयर एएफसी कप जर्नी टिल द फाइनल व्हिच इज वन ऑफ द हिस्टोरिक इन रिसेंट टाइम्स, अगर आप इंडियन क्लबों के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें तो, या फिर उनका जो आईएसएल कप विनिंग स्टोरी है, या फिर सुनील छेत्री कैसे ज्वाइन किए, क्लब कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ इनिशियली, देन अल्बर्ट रोका की जर्नी, एशली वेस्टवुड जो कि आई थिंक अभी काफी सारे इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस जानते होंगे बिकॉज ऑफ हिज अफगानिस्तान एंड अपकमिंग इन हांगकांग मैच. सो आई थिंक वो सारी स्टोरीज आपको इस बुक में मिल जाएगी, एंड इसको आप अमेजोन से भी परचेस कर सकते हो, अवेलेबल है. सो इस तरह की भी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज आपको बीएफसी के बारे में, इंडियन फुटबॉल के बारे में जानने को मिलेगी. जैसे हमने वन ऑफ द स्टोरी मेंशन की अबाउट के बीएफसी वॉकआउट के पीछे क्या हो रहा था ड्रेसिंग रूम में, व्हाट वाज द एटमॉस्फेयर एंड व्हाट वाज प्लेयर थिंकिंग डूइंग. सो इस तरह की सारी स्टोरीज आपको इसमें मिलेगी. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ कि व्हाट आर द challenges you face writing this book, because that is also one of the thing जो आपको इंडियन फुटबॉल इकोसिस्टम उतना अभी वो इवोल्व या फिर उतना वो मॉडर्नाइज या फिर व्हाटएवर यू कॉल इट नहीं है जैसे हम बाकी कंट्रीज में देखते हैं. सो व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस आपको फेस करने पड़े टू मेक इट दिस पॉसिबल, and
So a
what was
lot
the
of
role of the club also? What was the role of the club also, because that's also very very important. अगर आपको किसी, because main character is club, so obviously वहां से support होना यहाँ पे it's very much needed. But what are the challenges?
So, lot of the challenges are as a person internal. I am not the most confident person. I'm fairly insecure at sometimes. तो वो जो ये होती है ना, आवाज होती है अंदर में, who keeps saying, "Are you good enough? Are you good enough? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this in time? Can you do justice?" वैसा होता रहता है. तो there is an internal struggle. And then इस book में specifically जो unique था कि so I wanted to write it in a way that it was fast and easy to read. Like I didn't want it to be complicated. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, आराम से पढ़ना चाहिए, quickly पढ़ के जाना भी चाहिए. तो that was another thing that we were very focused on. और ये जो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, so it is a book largely driven through interviews and personal experience, right? तो lot of the internals, the stories और ये जो बोल रहे हैं कि ये हुआ वो हुआ etc. तो for example I interview you, you tell me that this during the game, so मैं एक और anecdote बोल देता हूँ. तो प्रद्युम से बात कर रही थी, तो he was talking about a match that they were going to play, and as he was walking, वो backs जो warm up कर रहे थे I think outside, and as he was walking through the opponent's dressing room, he saw the board, tactics board. तो उसने फोटो खींच के, like he didn't take a photo, I think that was a different story, but anyway he saw this and then he went and told Ashley, look, they're changing their system. So
System.
then they
अच्छा.
played it, okay, they played against, okay, they're doing this, they're going to do a thing, back three or something, and then we'll fix this, we'll do a counter attack that way. And so they won the game. So Pradyum told me the story. So then I have to now make sure that this happened, because his story was we scored an early goal. So then I have to now go and check the number saying, okay, is it against this team? Is it against? So he said it was in Pune. So you could have been Pune FC, DSK Shivajans, or Bharat FC. So I had to go and find out which of this team it was. Or Ashley would say something like Ashley and Mumbai FC coach at that time, Khalid Jamil, didn't really, get along, and they had a rivalry, like good rivalry on the field. So he was telling me things about those games, that this happened in this game, and the bottle came. There was an incident where they threw a bottle and it bounced off the dugout and fell right next to Khalid, but Khalid fell holding his head. So and then it was a he said she said, he hit me, and then Ashley said no, we didn't hit him. The bottle never hit him. He came to the press conference with the laptop from the camera. They have the tactical camera, and said the bot showed us that the bottle did. So there were so many of these incidents, them which I had to collaborate, and a lot of them were also feelings, right? कि आपने बोला कि I felt this at that time. तो आपका feeling तो valid है, but then I have to confirm that an event happened which made this person feel a certain way. तो that was a challenge कि corroborate करना है कि ऐसे ऐसे हुआ है. तो जो आप बोल रहे हैं शायद So आप बोल रहे तो I have to call somebody else involved in that time or meet that person and ask कि did this happen? So that was very difficult. Not difficult in the sense, but it was very stressful. क्योंकि we don't want to give false information as much as possible. आपका emotions तो whatever emotion it is, I can write it's fine. तो वो था एक डिफिकल्ट थिंग एंड फ्रॉम द क्लब साइड टू बी फेयर they were largely supportive only. A lot of the people came on board, the entire staff, and all of them came. I had a lot of interviews with all of them, so that was great. But unfortunately मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि like I missed out on interviewing a few people. um, and I tried a lot to get that sorted, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason, time or whatever it may be. So I wish I could have interviewed Parth Jindal and Mustafa Gauss. Sunil Chetri, I didn't interview specifically for this book, but it was not a big problem because Sunil Chetri, being the player that he is someone that used to come in front of the media, and we've interviewed him so many times in the last 12 years that I knew,
People know
previous
about.
interviews. Yeah, all that was fine. Roca was another one that we sort of missed out. But again, we had done a lot of interviews, so that was also okay. I wish I could have gotten Marco, but this was not part from the club side because others I tried to go through the club because they were all part of the club still, or JSW. Marco is a person that whose number I got, and I, messaged him and tried to contact him, but he was not keen on talking. Obviously, the way it ended, I guess he was not very happy. So that is okay. But we largely, I'm happy with what it is. But I just feel if these two, lastly, Mustafa and Parth had come in, I could have at least had like a 10 minutes chance to talk to them. It could have added a lot more value. But as it stands, I'm very happy with the fact that I could get over 50 people to come and talk to me, right from Ashley, Mandar, and the great players that they had: John Johnson, Sean Rooney, Miku, Juana, and all of them were very free and open to come and talk for the book. So I'm very very happy and very very thankful for all of them.
लास्ट में मैं जानना चाहता हूँ रिगार्डिंग दी, आपके हिसाब से व्हाट आर द इम्पैक्ट इट हैड इन इंडियन फुटबॉल फ्रॉम दिस बुक, बिकॉज जैसे हमने स्टार्ट में बात की थी कि एक नई चीज में देखने को मिल रही है फॉर मॉडर्न क्लब्स जो रिसेंटली पिछले 10-12 साल 15 साल में इंडियन फुटबॉल के इकोसिस्टम में स्टार्ट हुए हैं. सो व्हाट विल बी द इम्पैक्ट, बिकॉज इस तरह की स्टोरीज जैसे आपने बेंगलुरु एफसी की स्टोरी बताई, वैसे केरला ब्लास्टर की स्टोरी हो गई, या फिर जमशेदपुर की होगी, ओडिशा एफसी, मुंबई सिटी एफसी, देयर आर सो मेनी क्लब्स, नॉर्थ ईस्ट यूनाइटेड एफसी, सो मेनी क्लब्स की जिसके बारे में आई थिंक इस तरह की स्टोरीज और ज्यादा आएगी. तो जो वो एक कनेक्ट की हम बात करते हैं और कल्चर की बात करते हैं, उसको भी क्रिएट करने में आई थिंक इट वुड you can say play a role. So how do you see this book can impact on Indian football from that perspective?
तो ये व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज इन होप, ओके, कि हमको पता नहीं कैसे इम्पैक्ट होगा, बट आई एग्री विद what you said is correct. क्योंकि तो हाउ डू आई से, क्योंकि लास्ट 2 साल आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग अ लॉट, पूरे इंडिया घूम रहा था, कि फुटबॉल हब्स में घूम रहा था फॉर अनदर बुक दैट आई वाज वर्किंग ऑन, जैसे आपने मैंने बोला पहले. सो देन अमाउंट, इफ एनीबॉडी सेज इंडिया में फुटबॉल कल्चर नहीं है, that person is wrong. It's just wrong. There is an immense football culture जो हम register नहीं किया अभी तक. Like it is there. We tap नहीं किया, हम उनका stories नहीं बोला. See, for example, Calcutta is an extremely well researched. There is a lot of literature on their football. उनका clubs are institutions, 100 years plus. वो बहुत पॉलिटिक्स में शामिल है. They are part of their society. They are part of everything. That's extremely well documented. So we understand that there is football culture in Kolkata, but there is insane football culture in many other places also. So the idea was hopefully, क्योंकि जब हम बैंगलोर एफसी के बारे में बोल रहे, the reason why I was very keen on writing it is because I think this club had a tremendous impact on the changing Indian football culture for the better. Indian football became a lot more professional. One of the agents who I interviewed told me BFC was the first team where they saw reams of papers as part of player, contract, कि उसको ऐसे मीडिया appearance करना है, there is so many clauses and things. It became thicker because of them. So subsequently, सब लोग वही use कर रहे हैं. They started doing medicals a little bit. All of these things, plus how to run the football club, to ensure that the players are traveling at the optimum time. So आपके training के बाद, आपके recovery के बाद, you take the flight so that you get to some place at the right point in time. You don't miss meals. You travel properly. You look after your players. You put them in good places. Recovery का बहुत important है. Sports science is very important. All of these things came through BFC. To be fair, we have to give a lot of credit to Pune FC also, which was another team that's predated Bangalore FC, who are also doing a lot of things right. But BFC, because of their success, it was a huge impact. Because they had a structure in the club. And their victory, if you look at their early team, who won the first league, उसमें Sunil Chhetri was a national teamer. Robin Singh was a national team player. Baki sab, they were not great players, or most of the people didn't know who they were. But they all ended up becoming Indian internationals. You have Rino Anto, CK Vineet, Keegan Pereira, Chuante, Eugene Lindo, Zwala. I think Ralte never played, but Daniel Lalampuya, so many, Lendungal, so many of them went on to play for the national team. So they had a huge impact at that time. And I know for a fact, and it is there in the book, the AIFF used to go and show them BFC as the example to new corporate entries. Say that this is how you run a club. You have a plan, you have a training structure, you have all these things around. This is how you do it. So they used to use them as an example. So it is not just me saying I feel like BFC had an impact. It is AIFF also who did the same. So I think there are similar stories to be told across the country, as you mentioned. It need not be just ISL teams. Aizawl is a great story. What that club has meant for the people there and winning the league. Winning the league is extremely well covered. I think Chiranjit Oja wrote a book on them also. So Aizawl is Shillong Lajang is a fantastic story in its own right. You have Gokulam Kerala FC who have done phenomenal work, not just in men's football but in women's football as well. So you have all of these teams who have stories to tell. Maybe their success is different. Like Shillong Lajang's success is not trophies. Shillong Lajang's success is that they represent players of Northeast. They gave them a platform. The first team who came up, they gave them a platform. You have half of your Purba Lachampa came from Shillong Lajang. Vishal Khet came from Shillong Lajang. So many players broke through Shillong Lajang. So they have huge impact in that world. And there are stories to be told about all these teams. And I hope this is the first of many that I will write and the first of many that others can also look into, because I don't have the kind of contacts a local journalist will have to a lot of these clubs. So I hope they start in telling these stories, and in telling them, we can actually show the world that Indian football has a strong culture, and whatever is happening in Indian football is not because there is no interest. It is only because we are missing the boat of whatever administrative levels that we are looking at.
ट्रू एंड आई थिंक आपने परफेक्टली समड अप किया इस बुक का और इंडियन फुटबॉल का भी जो व्हाटएवर सिनेरियो या फिर फ्यूचर होना चाहिए. लास्ट में आपकी तरफ से फैंस को क्या मैसेज है अबाउट द बुक एंड व्हाटएवर यू वांट टू से अबाउट दिस. आपने मेनली ज्यादा चीजें तो आई थिंक अभी बता ही दी है कि क्यों इस बुक को फैंस को पढ़ना चाहिए एंड आगे क्यों इस तरह की ज्यादा बुक्स एंड इस तरह की चीजें इंडियन फुटबॉल में आनी चाहिए. सो योर फाइनल थॉट्स एंड मैसेज टू फैंस.
Message is to please read the book. It was a lot of effort that not just me, because writing the book is one part. People, I remember texting Mandar and Eric Parthalu saying, I want to talk to you. And Mandar within 5 minutes said, tomorrow, call me. And Eric is like, I'm coming to India. I'll be in Bangalore. Let's not do this on the phone. You come meet me. So people just so happy to tell their stories. So I mean, they want to let the world know. So a lot of the players of the the early years were so keen and so happy and so thankful to them for their help and things. And also I wanted to. It's a lot of effort to write the book, which is fine, but it's a lot more effort to edit the book. So I want to thank the people who edited, Sudarshan and Narayanan sir. Both of them were extreme. We used to sit in the office, so Hindu office, and edit till from say 10 in the night to 4, or 5, 5 a.m. in the morning, because we used to sit overnight and edit all this, because our work meant that that was the only time we had. And we did that for a lot of days, and we edited the whole thing. So they had a tremendous role in shaping the story and making. So sometimes when you write so much, you just ramble, like how I'm talking right now.
Mm.
So you just ramble a
Yeah.
lot, and they had a lot of smart decision to cut here and cut there. There were certain quotes that in interviews which I didn't use, and they saw it and they were like, no, 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 this is amazing, use it. And so they had a great role in. It's like a team effort also. So yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it, but at the same time, it's a lot of work also. So I really hope people read it, they enjoy or they like it, and hopefully, a lot more people can be interested into football. And I do say this, it's a football book, because I got this from a friend of mine who started reading it, and she's not a football fan. And she found the human stories very interesting. She didn't care so much about who won and who lost, but she found the human stories interesting. She found the idea of a city of Bangalore being what it is very interesting. So it's, I think that way it can transcend football, and this is also why we purposely made sure the cover of the book is not of a player or the team. We wanted to
Team.
make it represent Bangalore. So that is actually hats out to Sumanna, who was a designer for the cover, who is former BFC designer as well. That is actually the Google Map view of Kandirva Stadium. So
Okay.
everything around it is, the lines and the lanes and the roads and everything. So that is the home of Bangalore FC, which is in Bangalore. So we wanted to ensure the city is represented properly, and what it means to the city and what the city means to the club as well. So even if you're not a football fan, I think you might enjoy it, because it's a human book at the end of the day.
मेरी तरफ से मैं इतना ही बोलना चाहूंगा। मैंने मतलब जैसे कुछ चैप्टर पढ़े हैं, सच में मतलब मैं पहली बार संदीप भाई से बात कर रहा हूँ, बट इट वाज ट्रूली मतलब अमेजिंग बुक, एंड आई फाइंड इट यू कैन से रियली इंटरेस्टिंग आल्सो, जेन्युइन ओपिनियन, बिकॉज मैंने फुटबॉल की इससे पहले प्रीवियसली 2-3 अदर इंडियन बुक्स है वो पढ़ी है, एंड कंपेयर नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं, बट आई थिंक इट्स समथिंग न्यू जो कि आई थिंक फैंस को मिलेगा। जो जैसे मैंने स्टार्टिंग में भी बोला था कि ये ज्यादातर इंडियन फुटबॉल फैंस इस तरह का कंटेंट, इस तरह का मटेरियल, वट एवर यू कॉल इट, आपको नहीं देखने को मिलता। तो फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव ऑल्सो आपके लिए भी इंटरेस्टिंग होगा। एंड दूसरी चीज जो आपने बोली कि एक फुटबॉल बुक तो है ही, बट ह्यूमन कनेक्ट भी ज्यादा है, जो विच इज आई फाइंड इट मोर यू कैन से इंटरेस्टिंग, कि आपको लगेगा कि नहीं सिर्फ टेक्निकल बातें बातें हो रही है, ऐसा नहीं है। देयर आर सो मेनी स्टोरीज की जो एज ए आप चाहे फुटबॉल फैन ना भी हो तब भी आपको लगेगी कि हाँ भाई हाँ ऐसा क्या होता है। सो ये एंड दिस कैन कोरिलेट विद अदर स्पोर्ट्स ऑल्सो। अगर आप किसी भी यहाँ पे बाकी स्पोर्ट्स के भी फैन हो तो उसमें भी इस तरह की बिहाइंड द स्टोरीज होती है, तो उससे भी आप कनेक्ट कर पाओगे। सो इट्स रियली रियली अमेजिंग बुक। प्लीज गाइस टू चेक आउट ऑन अमेजन, आपको मिल जाएगी ये इजीली वहाँ पे। एंड जरूर इसको रीड कीजिए, एंड उसके बाद अपने जो ओपिनियन है, अपने जो थॉट्स है अबाउट द बुक, वो इस पॉडकास्ट के कमेंट सेक्शन में बता दीजिएगा, ताकि हमको भी पता चले कि भाई आपको कैसी बुक लगी, एंड संदीप भाई को भी पता लगे कि हाँ भाई व्यूअर्स को कैसा लग रहा है। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच संदीप भाई जुड़ने के लिए और अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करने के लिए अबाउट द बुक, एंड वी आर ईगरली वेटिंग फॉर योर सेकंड बुक आल्सो, जैसे आपने बताया। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच, एंड इट्स प्लेजर टू टॉक टू यू।
Thank you so much for having me. It was great fun.